All right, today we're going to be multiplying and dividing complex numbers. We will be able to perform the operations with the number I. First, remember that I is the square root of 1. So whenever we multiply I, technically what we are doing is saying the square root of negative 1 times the square root of negative 1. So whenever we multiply two square roots, remember it's like saying the square root of negative 1 squared. The square root and the square cancel, and you're just left with negative 1. So I times I, or I squared, is just negative 1. We can apply the distributive property to complex numbers. I can multiply complex numbers and constant numbers, similar to how I would multiply like 4x and negative 6. This becomes negative 24i, and then 4i times I is 4i squared. But unlike operations with variables, we have some more simplifying to do, because I squared is technically negative 1. You should never leave an I squared in a problem. So this is negative 24i minus 4. So to put this into standard form, the constant term is first. And this would be my answer. Let's try it again. Negative 5i times 8 would be negative 40i. And then negative 5i times 9i, negative 9i, would be positive 45i squared. And again, once again, 45 times I squared is the same thing as saying 45 times negative 1. And 45 times negative 1 is negative 45. And we switch the order because we always want to express our numbers in standard form. Whenever we are dealing with i's in our problem, we don't really want to work with i's in the denominators of our fractions. So if I start off with the example, 2 over 5i. I need to get rid of the I in the denominator. Similar to how we rationalize the denominator with radicals, you need to multiply the top and the bottom by a number that's going to make the denominator no longer have an I. Paying attention here, I times I is negative 1. So by multiplying the top and the bottom of this fraction by I will effectively be eliminating the I from the bottom of the fraction. So this becomes 2I over 5I squared, which means the top of the fraction is still left with 2I. The bottom of the fraction is 5 times negative 1, which is 2I over negative 5, or you could say negative 2I over 5. The situation can be more complicated if we have more than just a plain I term. When we do this, we want to multiply by the complex conjugate. You might remember the phrase conjugate from Algebra 2, but the conjugate basically says that the numbers are the same, but the operation is opposite. So instead of a subtraction, we are going to have adding. And we'll talk about this more in class, but I just wanted you to get a feel for what it's going to look like. So write this down and be prepared to finish it up in class.